I want to thank you for joining me again as we continue on with our series, From Other to One Another, our daily devotional series that accompanying our Sunday morning sermon series. I want to thank you for joining us for that as we explore the richness of our relationships with one another. Might you be this kind of person? You've invited company over, and the entire time that you are preparing and the time after they leave, you are just grumbling and grousing about the work that it was to host a family in your home. Oh, you might have enjoyed the time together, but the time together gets outweighed by the work that you put in, and the work that you put in just eats away at the satisfaction of enjoying each other's company. I have known people like that. And for those that are like that, it's hard to live up to the words of 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 9, where Peter tells us, show hospitality to one another, and here's the caveat, without grumbling. The other caveat that we often have with that is the hospitality that we show is towards those that we like the most. We invite those that we have some connection with, have some affinity towards, and we spend the time with them, and there's a whole lot of people that we don't draw near to, we don't engage with, because we just don't have that connection that occurs right up front. The problem with that is the term hospitality actually carries the idea of loving the stranger. I remember when I was a child and we began attending Fifth Avenue Church of Christ in Sterling, Illinois, that for several weeks as we began attending there, we would be invited over to the house of members of the congregation to enjoy a lunch with them, or maybe later in the afternoon a meal together with them. And we would spend the day, and we began to get to know the people of the church. Showing hospitality, welcoming the stranger. Throughout the Old Testament, the welcoming of hospitality, or the showing of hospitality, or the welcoming stranger, was often demonstrated mostly in the context of welcoming the alien who had come from a foreign land. And God describes that in terms of welcoming them into your presence as if they belonged, as if they were part and parcel of the community. Right now we're experiencing a flood of Afghan refugees as they seek to leave the country of their birth because of it being taken over again by the Taliban. In one particular location where there's a military base, a former military base, where many of these families are being housed in transition, there are Christians in the community that are beginning to voice opposition to these Afghan refugees being placed in their city, in their area. Practice hospitality. Love the stranger. I know that some of the fear of these Afghan refugees has to do with them being Muslims. But what if the church began to show the love of God, the love of Christ to these Afghani refugees? How many of them, in opposition to the destructiveness they have seen in Islam because of the Taliban, would be open to the gospel if believers would practice hospitality without grumbling?